Before the architecture, before the materials, before the design even begins to reveal itself, there is something else you notice first. Space. Not just empty land, but a presence. A quiet, expansive openness that immediately slows you down. The road leading here feels longer than expected. Not because of distance, but because of transition. The further you move away from the noise of the world, the more you begin to feel something shift within you. The air feels lighter. The silence feels deeper. And time no longer feels rushed. This is not just a home you arrive at, it is a place you arrive into. Today, we explore homes defined not by their walls, but by the land that surrounds them, where legacy is preserved, and where space itself becomes the ultimate form of luxury. Arrival and presence. Arrival, in a home like this, is never immediate. It unfolds slowly, intentionally, almost ceremonially. A long driveway stretches ahead, sometimes lined with mature trees whose branches gently frame the sky above. The movement is gradual, allowing the experience to build with every passing second. There is no rush here. You begin to notice the absence of boundaries. No neighboring walls pressing in. No surrounding noise competing for attention. Just open land, stretching outward, uninterrupted and calm. And then, in the distance, the home begins to appear. Not in a dramatic reveal, but in a quiet introduction. It sits within the land, not above it. Grounded. Balanced. As if it has always belonged there. Some homes carry the weight of history in their structure: aged stone facades, softened edges, timber that has darkened beautifully over time. Others introduce subtle modernity: clean lines, extended forms, minimal silhouettes. But what they all share is presence. A presence that doesn't rely on scale or extravagance, but on the feeling they create the moment you arrive. Because here, the journey is part of the design. Legacy in form and material. There is a certain depth to homes that have evolved over time. You can feel it in the materials. Walls that are not perfectly uniform, surfaces that reflect years of use, exposure, and change. These are not imperfections. They are marks of life. Aged wood beams stretch across ceilings, carrying stories within their grain. Stone walls hold subtle variations in tone, shaped by seasons, weather, and time itself. These elements cannot be replicated. They can only be preserved. And that is where modern design begins to step in, not to replace, but to refine. Large glass panels are introduced carefully, creating transparency without erasing character. Steel frames meet traditional textures, forming a contrast that feels intentional rather than forced. A once enclosed structure begins to open. Light enters more freely. Views extend further. Spaces begin to connect in ways they never did before. The home transforms, but it does not forget. Instead, it carries its past forward, allowing history and modernity to exist side by side. This is where legacy becomes visible. Not as something frozen in time, but as something that continues to evolve. Space as luxury. Out here, luxury is not built. It is revealed. Not in the details of interiors, not in the layering of finishes, but in the sheer openness that surrounds the home. The kind of openness that cannot be manufactured, only experienced. The land stretches far beyond the structure itself, dissolving the idea that the house is the main feature. Instead, it becomes part of something larger, something quieter, something infinitely more powerful. Space begins to take the lead. Wide clearings unfold into soft landscapes, where grass moves gently with the wind and trees stand with a natural, unforced rhythm. There is no urgency in how things are placed. No tight boundaries or rigid lines forcing the land into submission. Everything feels allowed. The home sits within this openness with restraint. Its footprint is intentional, never overwhelming. Even when large in scale, it feels grounded, balanced against the vastness that surrounds it. Driveways extend longer, not just for access, but for experience. Pathways curve instead of cutting straight lines, allowing movement to feel slow, almost reflective. And in that slowness, you begin to understand something deeper. That space, when left uninterrupted, becomes its own kind of luxury. Not loud. Not excessive. But deeply felt. Because here, you are not confined by walls. You are defined by how far your surroundings can breathe. architecture within the land. The most compelling homes on acres do not dominate their environment. They respond to it. Their forms are shaped not just by design trends, but by the land itself, by slope, by sunlight, by the direction of the wind and the quiet rhythm of nature. Roofs extend outward, creating shaded outdoor zones that blur the line between shelter and openness. Verandas and terraces wrap around the structure, offering different perspectives of the land depending on where you stand. From one angle, the home feels grounded and traditional, pitched roofs, textured facades, materials that echo the earth beneath them. From another, subtle modern interventions begin to appear, clean lines, expansive glass, darker frames that sharpen the silhouette. But nothing feels forced. There is no visual competition between old and new. Instead, the architecture feels like it has settled into the land over time, adjusting, evolving, becoming more connected with each change. Even the placement of the home feels intentional. Set back just enough to create privacy, elevated slightly to capture wider views, or nestled into the landscape to feel protected and calm. Every decision is guided by one idea: to belong. Because true luxury, in spaces like this, is not about standing out, it is about fitting in so seamlessly, it feels as though the home has always been there. Outdoor living and open-air experience. Life here does not revolve around interiors. It unfolds outside. Morning begins not with walls, but with open air. Light spills across the land long before it touches the structure, creating a natural rhythm that defines the start of the day. Outdoor spaces are not secondary, they are essential. Large terraces extend outward, furnished simply, allowing the view to remain the focal point. Pergolas create soft, filtered shade where moments can stretch longer, uninterrupted by time. Outdoor kitchens become gathering points, where cooking blends into conversation, and meals are shared beneath the sky rather than beneath ceilings. Seating areas are placed with intention, not just for comfort, but for perspective. A chair facing the horizon, a bench tucked beneath trees, a quiet corner that captures the last light of the evening. Pools reflect more than just water. They mirror the sky, the trees, the stillness of the environment, becoming part of the landscape rather than an addition to it. And beyond all of this, there is still more space. Unstructured. Untouched. Because not every part of the land needs to be designed to be meaningful. Sometimes, the most powerful element is what is left alone. In homes like these, the architecture is only part of the story. The real experience lives outside. In the distance between the gate and the front door, in the quiet stretch of land that surrounds you, in the way the sky feels larger, and time feels slower. Here, space is not empty. It is intentional. It gives you room to move, room to think, room to simply exist without interruption. And in that openness, something begins to shift. You start to understand that luxury is not always about what is built. Sometimes, it is about what is preserved. The land. The silence. The distance from everything that once felt necessary. Because when space becomes luxury, you don't just live in a home. You live within an experience.